What's up, nerds, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. I know it's been a hot minute since we've had any serious Destiny content, but today we're going to be talking about something that I think is important to the Destiny community and really to the future of this game. So, before we start, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you be a part of this channel and share our videos with you as soon as they come out, so don't forget to do that. Also, if you do enjoy this video, give it a big thumbs up. It really helps us out, and we would appreciate it. All right, on to the topic of the day. Did Season of Arrivals save Destiny? Now, before we answer that question, I want to make sure we're clear on two things here, okay? Number one, we'll be looking at player statistics to answer this question, right? We're going to rely on the data that's available as it relates to the game and this season. This is not my personal opinion on whether the game is dead or not. I want to look at the data, and the data will be representative of specific platforms. So we're going to look at a lot of Steam statistics for PC players, but I can tell you in researching this, these cover and are representative of the player base as a whole across consoles and PC. The second thing that I want to make sure is clear, this is not a review of the current season content. I am working on a video for that as well, but today we're keeping the opinion about the quality of the content out of it. This is just a discussion of, did this season save the game, or has it headed the right direction, and what are we seeing in the players' response to this new season content? So, if we get back to that question, did this season save Destiny, we need to figure this out. And in order to figure this out, we need to look at the player base from prior to the release of this season and take a look at where we were headed, right? So on the screen now you can see a graph, and what we see here, this is from Statista.com. I'm not sure how you say it, but Statista.com, and this is showing peak player count by month since the release of Shadowkeep. So as you can see, and I'm sure this is what you would expect, is a high initial count of players, followed by a long dip with some increases around new seasonal content. But the most shocking thing here is look at May of 2020. Look at that player count. This is peak players, meaning the most people online at one time. In this case, this is for PC, so players on Steam. This is the most people that played. Think about that. In a game with 19.5 million total current players that have played in the last 30 days, the peak on PC was 76,000 people on Steam. And that number is even more drastic when we look at the months leading up to it. Even with the previous season release, there were still about 117,000 people at the peak. Now, jump to June 2020 and boom, we're back up over 200,000 players. Okay, peak players so far for June was over 200,000. It's not quite an all-time high, but it is the highest player count since the release of Shadowkeep. So you can see that trend starting to spike back up. Now, how does this shake out over time, right? In terms of player engagement, what does this mean over the course of these last several months? Peak players is one thing, but what about average player count, right? That's an important statistic as well, because it's not just the number of players at most that were logged in. This is, what does it look like on a daily basis? Well, let's answer that question. So this new chart that you can see here, what you can see is an average player count by month, as well as the increase or decrease percent over the previous month. So this is looking at month-to-month comparison of players. And what we see backs up the previous graph, but it also paints a picture of where the numbers are going. As you can see, we had consistent double-digit decrease, right? Losing double-digit percentage of players every single month since Shadowkeep released in October, with the exception of March. And I think there's a couple of reasons why March was up a little bit. Every single month, we saw double-digit decreases over the previous month, meaning we were losing double-digit percentage of players every single month in this game, until the newest season. So if we look at June, we had almost a 50% increase in average players. Now, you may say, oh, well, March was also some new season content. Maybe that's what it was. It was still only a 25% increase. When we look at June, June is up 50% in average players over the previous month. And even in the past 30 days, which still includes parts of June, right? We haven't even seen the full month of July. We're already at an 8% increase over the previous 30 days. So people are clearly getting back into this game, right? It's clear to see that people are getting back into the game, they're investing time in the game, and they're playing it more. Not only in peak, not only a one-time sign-in, but we're also seeing an increase in the average number of players each day. But the last thing that I think is key to understanding this is really wanting to know, where are people spending their time, right? Is this just strictly people playing PvE because Trials is out on the weekends? I mean, where are people spending their time in this game? So our final statistic comes from Destiny 2 Tracker, and you can see this is they got the database of weapons, they got all kinds of stuff on here, but they release a key statistic. It's updated daily, and as you can see, the majority of the players here are actually involved in PvE content, with over 1 million players playing PvE in one day. So why is this significant? Well, because the number one complaint from the community last season was that the content was dry. There was no good PvE activity to play. People didn't even want to complete quests because of how mundane they were, right? I mean, think about the grind that was the last season. It killed people's enthusiasm. They didn't want to grind. They didn't want to play the same activities over and over. It was dead. There was nothing new to do, right? And so now we have a player base that's not only getting more and more active every day, but they're engaging in PvE content at a higher rate than they are engaging in PvP. So there's clearly more engagement and more interest in the current season's content than there was over the previous season's content. So where does this leave us? Is there sufficient evidence in this data to say if this season has saved the game? And I can't believe that I'm actually going to say this, but yes, I think they have actually managed to stop the bleeding and get people involved in this game again. We have positive growth in player counts over periods of time since the new season has released, and one of the highest peak player counts since the content released back in October. And I have to admit, I mean, all signs point to, I think Season of Arrivals has actually kept Destiny alive for the time being. I think they managed to do it. Now, I will finish with this. Although they've drummed up hype around the new season content and where the game is going, I would put good money on it that if the next DLC later this year is a flop and it doesn't deliver on what they promised for the future of this game, it will be dead. They will literally kill this game if they go through another cycle of, we're going to tell you a bunch of exciting things and then nothing exciting happens. So for now, I think they've been successful. I think they've shown that they can get players engaged again. I think they've delivered content that people clearly want to play. So hats off to Bungie. They managed to keep it alive. So if you made it this far in the video, we appreciate you sticking around. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think in terms of this season's content and if it managed to keep the game alive. Let us know in the comments. Also, if you have not already, don't forget to hit subscribe and give the video a like for us. Later, nerds.